Welcome to Dai Headlines. I'm Dennis Wu. Thank you for joining us. In the United States, Tzu Chi volunteers gathered in Missouri to help the state recover from the recent tornado outbreaks. We investigate why, despite proper irrigation systems, rice farmers in central Taiwan choose to drill for groundwater. And we visit National Taiwan University of Science and Technology to check out a new multifunctional solar glass panel design. First up today, the tornadoes that devastated Joplin, Missouri, continue to create havoc across the Midwest of the United States. After the disaster, Tzu Chi volunteers quickly arrived in Joplin to assess the damage. As luck would have it, there are volunteers with disaster relief experience in nearby Kansas City. And in Joplin, a local Tzu Chi member and restaurant owner was able to cook hot meals for residents. On Tuesday, volunteers from California and Chicago joined the effort. The group visited the local Red Cross to understand the situation.
In a drive-by view of the carnage, a local Tzu Chi member spots the place where a supermarket used to stand and sees apartments where her employees lived, torn apart by the force of the tornado. Here in Joplin, Missouri, houses, cars, trees and furniture were tossed into the air. Of the 7 states in the Midwest that were hit by storms, Missouri suffered the worst. Restaurant boss Chen Guiye was brave enough to take a look outside.
It was so bad I wanted to look away, but I'm a Tzu Chi member with a compassionate heart of Tzu Chi, and I follow in the footsteps of the master. We have 2 restaurants, but the storm didn't hit us. It passed between them. None of our staff were hurt, so the next day we cooked hot food for the storm victims.
The restaurant owner provided 500 meals on the first day and another 300 on the second, handing them out to stricken residents. Chen says since she couldn't open her business, she used up whatever ingredients she had in store. A fresh stock of food only arrived today. Tzu Chi volunteers make arrangements to deliver the hot meals into the disaster area.
Those roads right now are closed with construction equipment while they're clearing the roadways.
But I can go through here and then turn left on the.
Because we have hot meal, we need to put pants. We still send the hot meal
to the Salvation Army.
Okay.
On a mission to deliver hot food, the volunteers are waved through the roadblocks. Many of the disaster victims have been living off dried food, so the arrival of home-cooked meals is very welcome.
He said he's really touched, so he would like to say thank you to you. That's her restaurant. Where is the bread? Thank you so much.
When I looked out, I just thought, everybody's gone. Everybody's gone. And it was pouring down rain so hard, and I couldn't figure out what that thing was, and it's either part of the school or part of the hospital that is embedded in the house there. So I just thank God that we're alive.
Although grateful to have made it through the storm, the survivors are wondering about their future. Understanding how they feel, the visiting Tzu Chi volunteers say they hope to help the victims get through this difficult period together.
Now returning to Taiwan for fire relief, Azong from Zhengai Township in Taiwan's Nantong County has been a Tzu Chi care recipient for many years. She is also a dialysis patient. Recently, Azong's house suffered a fire that burned all her belongings. Neighbors came to her aid by taking the family in, while Tzu Chi volunteers brought emergency cash and daily necessities.
This house used to be Arong's little haven before a sudden fire burnt it down. Everything inside is reduced to ashes and the ceiling has caved in too. Arong's neighbor He Chenxing and wife Gao Yuelan immediately offered their shed as Arong's temporary family home.
Her house caught fire and everything went up in flames. It's tough to see them without a home.
The displaced woman is on dialysis and has been living with her daughter-in-law and grandchildren since her husband and youngest son passed away. Tzu Chi volunteers have long been caring for them and arrived with essential items when they learned of the fire.
The fire started soon after they left the house. They didn't know about it until the neighbors called. They are our care recipients, so as soon as we found out, we came with some aid supplies.
The aid supplies include comforters, mattress, daily necessities, as well as clothes for the whole family.
I feel so much warmth around me. The villagers, the public, and Tzu Chi have all been so caring and helpful. I feel really loved.
The love and support that come pouring in bring great comfort to Arong and her distressed family.
Mention food and most Asians will immediately think of rice. The staple diet of the region is grown in paddy fields, which need lots of water. Every day, Taiwan's farmers uses 11.13 billion tons of water, which comes from rivers, reservoirs, the surface, and underground. Taiwan's Council of Agriculture subsidizes farmers 2.22 billion NT dollars a year to help pay for the irrigation costs. In the third segment of our continuing series of feature reports on food policy in Taiwan, we go to the nation's rice basket, Changhua County, to find out more.
Zhanghua's Erling Township has 2,800 hectares of rice paddies. At 8,000 caddies a hectare, this is the most productive farmland in Taiwan. But the drainage system built in the Qing dynasty cannot cope with households, farms, and factories that pour sewage directly into the river, and rice growers have to look elsewhere for water.
If it was used for irrigation, not even the farmers would want to eat what they grow.
It costs 100 to 200,000 to drill a well. Farmers only get an income of a few $1,000s on a plot of land. So when will you be able to pay back 200,000?
以前嘛，这类艺术是讲集水没有修，但是排水有修，是这样吗？
都没有修。
他这个好像
都没有修。
你讲阿门头空起来，
阿门头这应该是
这新做的啦，这新做的应该是排水的啦。
是部分啦。
In the farm fields, irrigation and sewage are two big problems. If you stop using it for irrigation, the farmers have to find a way by digging their own wells to get water.
The money the government throws at stopping land subsidence would be better spent on a few facilities to encourage farmers not to pump groundwater and say, I can give you water if you don't pump.
Although the issues of food security and food miles are high on the political agenda, local farmers complain that the government has forgotten their basic needs.
The government should be thinking about how to store water, not telling everyone to stop using water, but how to properly use water resources.
The experts say agriculture has a value beyond its contribution to the economy.
If you only see farm produce as a product, you could make the Council of Agriculture a bureau of the Ministry of Economics, because the gross value of farming is only 400 billion NT dollars. Its net value is only 200 billion. That's less than the Foxconn company.
Agriculture stores water, creates photosynthesis to produce oxygen, cleans the air, and even retains water and soil. That's all part of the value of farming that you can't calculate.
In light of the implications for the environment and global warming, perhaps we should be taking a broader look at the issue of food security.
In the next report, we meet a 44-year-old environmental volunteer, Andan Supriyatna from Indonesia. Be it rain or shine, he begins his day by picking up litter and collecting recyclables around his neighborhood. Even though residents often ask him what he is doing, he remains steadfast in his conservation work and has earned his family's full support.
All geared up for the day, 44-year-old Endang Supriyatna begins scouting the streets and alleys in his community to pick up litter. Along the way, he is greeted by skeptical looks, but that doesn't affect his determination. He also happily answers any questions.
Buat saya nggak masalah karena juga saya sudah merasakan.
Sometimes people come up to me and ask why I do conservation. I reply very happily that I'm a Tzu Chi volunteer. I collect recyclables and promote the cause at the same time.
Leading by example, Endang has also initiated his wife and children into the work of turning waste into resources. It often comes as a surprise when people learn that stalwart Endang is actually a vegetarian.
Bervegetarian itu sulit, gitu kan ya. Sekarang
for a long time now, there has been this myth about how a vegetarian diet weakens you. Furthermore, people are finding it hard to go meatless. I've been a vegetarian for 4 years now, and it has made me a healthier person. I ride my motorcycle every day, and I donate blood. The doctor says I'm in good shape.
With a stamp of approval from his doctor, Endang is even more certain of his commitment to the earth through recycling and a greener diet.
One of the most popular souvenirs to purchase when foreigners visit Taiwan is pottery featuring the three-color glazes of the Tang Dynasty. The vibrant and colorful coating gives life to an otherwise ordinary piece of pottery. In Taiwan's Hualien, an artist has dedicated himself to reproducing the different glazes from different periods of ancient China, and he is not shy about sharing his talent with his community.
Lin Xinhua is an artist in Hualien, Taiwan, who works with ancient Chinese glazes. Different color requires different formulas. Lin Xinhua hopes to understand the wisdom of ancient Chinese through the revival of this age-old art.
Perhaps the ingredients we use nowadays are a lot better and more refined than during our ancestors' time. But in the process, we can see how our ancestors knew how to apply the ingredients to create different effects.
Every piece Lin Xinhua creates takes tens of hours of baking. The color agents in the glazing undergo a metamorphosis inside the high-temperature oven, giving the glaze depth and pattern. How the glaze is applied affects the outcome significantly. This piece, sprinkled with gold pieces, appears differently at different angles.
Elements under my control are few. Once inside the oven, no one knows the outcome. It's unpredictable. So I often say every piece is an act of God. I really don't do anything extraordinary.
As an artist, Lin Xinhua not only pursues his personal dream, but shares his talent with the community by holding various workshops, so many more can enjoy and appreciate the finer things in life.
The Zhenyi borough of Kaohsiung City in Taiwan has been undergoing renovations to reduce the community's carbon emissions. The borough head, Liu Yinlian, not only led residents in turning a piece of wasteland into a beautiful green park, but also implemented a couple of energy-saving techniques at home. The community was recently recognized by Taiwan's Environmental Protection Agency for its efforts in safeguarding the planet.
Situated in Zhenyi Borough of Kaohsiung City, Taiwan, this beautiful green park is a perfect resting place for residents. However, just a year ago, it was filled with rubbish.
Before, this was a desolate and messy place. A resident was planting vegetables here, and that was troublesome since he would dig a hole and then cover it with tarpaulin. This would collect rainwater, which attracted insects.
Grateful that the land has been turned into a park, residents volunteer themselves as gardeners.
It was really deserted before, and now it's beautiful, so I came to give a helping hand.
The many unused areas of Zhenyi Borough are now all looking greener thanks to the help of its residents. Liu Yinglian also uses plants to reduce indoor temperature.
This way, when the sun shines, the rooftop will not be heated directly, and the temperature inside our house won't be as hot.
Liu switched to LED lights, which helped him reduce electricity usage by half. Overall, the community's efforts in reducing carbon emissions have won them an award from the EPA. As well, they have been designated as the model community in carbon reduction.
Glass is often used as a construction material to let in light. However, it also has the disadvantage of absorbing heat. But now Professor Yang Jingfeng from National Taiwan University of Science and Technology has come up with a transparent multifunctional solar glass panel, which is able to insulate your home, provide energy, and keep away the dust. The glass panel absorbs heat and turns it into electricity that produces 106 watts, which is equivalent to 8 light bulbs.
A solar glass panel on the rooftop powers a constantly turning fan. The glass first absorbs the heat from the sun and turns into electricity. The 1 meter square solar glass panel produces 106 watts of power, which is equivalent to 8 light bulbs.
We put a layer of semiconductor in our glass to turn it into electricity. So far, the power generating efficiency is 106 watts per square meter.
When the sunlight shines on the solar panel, apart from producing electricity, it can insulate radiant heat. A comparison can be made through testing a normal glass panel that lets in over 500 watts of radiant heat per square meter to a solar glass panel that lets in less than 10 watts.
The heat won't come in, and instead we turn it into electricity to supply home appliances. Also, because the heat doesn't come inside, we reduce aircon usage.
Apart from generating power and reducing aircon usage, the glass is spread with a nanophoto-catalyst coating that repels dust and breaks down pollutants. The creative design, which combines 3 functions, is a green product that will help reduce your carbon footprint.
On this day, the 27th of May, the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco of the United States spans the San Francisco Bay at the opening of the Pacific Ocean. Opened on this day in 1937, it was the longest suspension bridge in the world. The iconic red structure is a landmark of the modern era. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon on this day in 1975, Chinese Tibetan climber Patong reached the summit of the world's tallest peak, Mount Everest. She became the first woman to make the climb up the North Col. In light of the relatively poor access to healthcare resources in remote areas, Northern Taiwan Tima bought a mobile dental clinic, which went on the road for the first time on this day in 2001. Arriving at Shiding Elementary School in Taipei County, the clinic offered residents more complete dental treatment at their doorsteps. A 4-day series of simulated operations on donated cadavers began at Tzu Chi University's medical school on this day in 2002. Students practiced tracheostomies, central venous catheter insertions, test tube insertions, hysterectomies and other surgical procedures on the first step to working in a real operating theatre. A simulated surgery office was opened the following year, and in 2008, TCU's Simulated Surgery Study Centre opened to offer medical students a more complete clinical education.
Tzu Chi volunteer Guo Bingxiu from Xinyi District in Taiwan's Taipei City is a sign language instructor for the musical Water Repentance. Before she joined the foundation as a volunteer, Guo worked from home manufacturing computer parts outsourced by companies and factories. The high-demanding job put a strain on her relationship with her husband and children. She is grateful that her husband brought her into Tzu Chi's fold, where she began to learn the art of letting go.
The table in Guo Pingshou's living room is piled with computer components to be assembled, a job that has taken up most of her time during the day for the past 15 years. However, since she started training as a Tzu Chi volunteer 2 years ago, the center of Guo's life has shifted from work to spiritual cultivation.
The mood at home can be easily altered by one person. Back then, the three of them would be affected by the words I spoke or the expressions on my face. I had no clue what I did was all quite negative.
As a sign language instructor for Tzu Chi's musical Water Repentance, Guo plays her part on the computer and practices assiduously. Her husband, Zhang Jingrui, who introduced her to Tzu Chi, has witnessed the change in her temperament.
The way she says things and the way she carries herself have all changed. Before, I would come home to her and see a poker face. The tension was unbearable. Anything I said would provoke her. But it's so much better now.
Zhang Jingrui is a police officer. He admits to being a hard-nosed cop and has repented his inflexible attitude in work. Now he and his wife are striving to improve their personality and relationship as they walk side by side on the Bodhisattva path.
In Taiwan, Tzu Chi volunteers regularly visit senior homes in veterans' homes to check on these old soldiers. We now take you to one such visit in New Taipei City's Sanxia, where some grandpas show they can still sing and dance. At this veterans' home in Taiwan's Sanxia, guided by a visiting Tzu Chi volunteer, a senior with a cane dances effortlessly. Another grandpa presents his own version of Brother John.
两只老虎，两只老虎，跑得快，跑得快，一只没有尾巴，一只没有脑袋，真奇怪，真奇怪。
Then there are seniors who have lost their speech and mobility. Volunteers check on them and provide them with a haircut and manicure.
I took care of 5 bedridden seniors today. By the time I was giving the third one a haircut, I cried. I seldom care for my own parents like this at home. I have learned that we should care for the elderly in our family.
Once on the receiving end, Ke Feng-er now wants to reciprocate. Volunteer Chen Sufen is a 3-year veteran. No matter how busy she is, she makes time for these seniors with whom she has cultivated a strong bond.
When he saw me, he said, "Mama, Mama." His eyes were full of tears. That really breaks your heart. So even when I'm overwhelmed with work, I think of these grandpas waiting for me, and I just cannot stay away.
Knowing that these seniors need company, more and more join the ranks of the volunteers. Whether through singing or sharing life stories, they let the seniors know we care. At the end of today's program, we travel to Ipoh, Malaysia, where 266 Tzu Chi volunteers will soon be performing the Sutra of Innumerable Meanings musical to the public to inspire more people to practice Buddhism in action. Thank you for watching today's Dai Headlines. Goodbye.